everyone. Thank you so much for taking a chunk of your Sunday out to be with us for a really, really special event. Tim Gager's latest collection of poetry and a couple of special guests. Um, and I'm going to talk a little bit more later on, but right now, take it away, Tim.
Well, I'm just really honored to have some people that I asked to help me celebrate. And what makes it really nice is these people were generous. And we were just talking about blurbs, but they generously blurbed my book, and they are wonderful poets and writers themselves. So let me introduce little short readings from Jennifer Martelly and Yuyutsu Sharma. So Jennifer, take it away.
Hey, Tim, thank you so much for inviting me to be a part of this, of your launch for 2020 poems. I had the privilege of reading this before it went out into the world, and it's an important book and beautiful, and I'm glad you're my friend in this poetry world. So I am going to read just a few poems, doing this from my computer, so I feel very high tech. Sobriety. When I left today after being cruel to my kids, I saw a black and yellow garter snake along the footpath behind the high school and the temple. Its back was broke, and when a snake breaks its back, its whole body is lame. The snake dragged itself from one bush to the other, the juniper not yet ginned up. I fear snakes, and I fear my children being lonely as I am lonely. Some men take up snakes knotted in a wooden latch box at the church's altar. A thirsty snake, diamondback, copperhead, can't make venom, and so the bites around the men's wrists come to nothing more than a headache. The snake on the path looked like a slow train at night. Its cars, reading car, club and bar car, diner, lit up, busy. That's how it looked anyway from my distance above. Moon jellyfish. Walking the low tide beach at dusk, I stopped short at a dead jellyfish. Pink poison, a tattoo on the nape of a neck, still stinging, hurtful. Further on, another, Uncle Fester's bald scalp, dumb, electrified. Hundreds left strewn all over the mud, clear sandy blobs, half globe sadnesses. One jellyfish lay like a broken magic 8-ball, too hazy to tell. One had black sand dried into a small V, like the back of a pixie cut or a soul patch, shaved and groomed, a mound shorn to please, sexy and so plump. One fit into a bra, balanced breasts. One missed the wave, couldn't get home. A heavy-set woman paddled her board towards the little harbor north. Did you see all of these? I yelled, my words echoed off her sunburnt skin. One, a dried purple plum. One had the imprint of a toddler's soft arch. The harbor illuminated with globe lights strung off the yacht club's piers. I realized this was my old drunk nightmare, but I wasn't sure who else knew. The boozy boats moored, bobbing, the woman rowing, hair pulled up and clasped. Watching a reenactment of Dick Cheney's heart transplant. There is that moment when neither has a heart. The brain dead boy lying on the table with his chest cracked open, the old man with a fist-sized hole who will never know gratitude. The good heart is handed surgeon to surgeon and hovers. So there is a moment, much like when Sisyphus gets his stone to the top of the mountain and stands on the flat land, pushing nothing. He doesn't know what to do with his arms, which won't lower. Much like that moment just after the last line of cocaine is inhaled, the mirror licked clean, moment of emptiness. And I'd say, I'm okay. I've got everything I'd ever need or want. Even the monotonous rotation of the earth of small moons around outer planets stops and a window cracks open, letting in a strange thaw in winter. The surgeons plant a purple heart deep in old soil, and it beats and beats and beats. In this last poem, I stole the title, which you can do, from I saw this internet meme, and it said 400 calories of existential horror, and it had all these things that equaled in your stomach. So I thought that was fascinating. So that's the title I stole, 400 calories of existential horror. Take up less room in my belly than 400 calories of barn owls. 400 calories of fresh raw vegetables fill me, but it's mostly water and roughage. 400 calories of swords. My friend chooses to fill up on swords, which is why she still bleeds. I'm always hungry. I read that every good story is a witch's hat. The rising action climbs the black silk to the point, then slides down to the ever widening brim, the rings of Saturn over an old lady's brow. 400 calories of raw meat leave less room than the same amount of oil, sesame, olive, canola, sweat, less than The Scream by Edward Munch. If I could swallow that like a secret love letter. And another friend insists trauma rides through her bloodstream in bone marrow canoes. She says old pain shapes us, drooping right eye, inverted spine, loose uterus. 400 calories of horror served up on stoneware, microwavable, dishwasher-safe plates. I read that every good poem is a Rodney Dangerfield joke. 400 calories of chicken, skin on, bone in, full and savory, is less than 400 calories of math. The stomach is bigger than the heart, grows like a womb as much as it needs. Thank you.
Thank you, Jennifer. So, Jennifer, quickly, what's the name of the book that people should check out?
Well, my latest book, it's been now, 2 years, is My Tarantella, and you can get that from Small Press Distribution. And my first book, which is from Our Press Big Table Publishing, is The Uncanny Valley. And I believe, Robin, can you still get that on the site? You can get it from me too, or Amazon. And I will have a book coming out in 2022. So we should be able to get together and actually meet, called The Queen of Queens, but that's in the future. Thanks.
Thank you, and thank you so much for helping me celebrate today.
Thank
I really
you.
appreciate that so much. So next up is Mr. Yuyutsu Sharma, and there's a game that you and I always play. It's called "What Time Is It in Nepal Right Now?"
It's 1 past midnight. It's like one o'clock in the morning. So I just got up. I was asleep.
Okay.
So it's past midnight.
Okay, so I know you're still having little audio problems. I don't think there's anything much we can do about that.
Is it clear now? Still?
It's just loud. There's buzzing, but maybe read a few short ones and.
Okay. So probably I'll read related to the pandemic, because this is to celebrate the 2020 book, and so the theme is a pandemic. So I'll read this one, which I wrote recently. It's called "I Hold My Breath." I hold my breath, stop my heart in a fraction of an astral pause, and bend to the ground to hear it coming from afar. Quarantined in the groggy chambers of my body for weeks and months, snuggled to the sunyas of my sorrows and noxious prophecies of an impending doom. In the early hours of the dawn, hearing feverish tapping of grandma's twisted cane hobbling down the hallway onto the toilets that seems miles away. A mini earthquake spiraling upwards, wrecking her nervous wrecking her nerves, shuddering her fragile frame every now and then, and Grandpa rising from an apocalyptic vision of some million cremations, a spiky bowl of phlegm rattling in his shriveling windpipe, an erratic rasping of watery lungs, drowning every minute in far off hospitals of the beloved cities of my travels. Bergamo, Milan, boroughs of New York City, parks of Bronx, streets of Corona, Elmhurst, and Jackson Heights. A fever racing along the banks of River Seine, tossed over the patios of Cordova, dragging a blood-drenched line of corpses up the slope of Andalusia's olive fields and along the Thames shores of Mumbai and the riverbed of our Yamuna, desert cities of Jodhpur, Tonk, and Bhilwara, an angry anthem of seagulls and swallows trapped in the splintered sirens of exhausted ambulances scurrying along the wailing squares, that ominous pigeons and bloodthirsty phantoms of pandemic have repossessed. I hold my heart tight, put my long quivering ears to the ground to listen to the piercing bolero of joy. In the sudden silence of Earth's astral moves, as humanity goes hiding in the hellholes of Boccaccio's human comedy, shedding a sea of tears large enough for a million Buddhas to battle, bathe in, and rise remorseless. I hush myself up to learn to forget the count of corpses in the sudden blooming of rhododendrons, poinsettias, and blue mimosas, and from my Himalayan rooftop spot a vision of snow ranges hidden for decades beneath the dusty branches of malignant tree that I watered most of my early childhood. I hear it, a shrill whistle cry of Gager, the bone breaker, in the peak hour of the early spring, a festive trilling and squawking of invisible angels, a rhapsody of squint-eyed ravens, spiny babblers, white-crested laughing thrushes, warblers, blood-beaked green parrots, along the shrill chorus of hyenas and jackals returning home after a hiatus of a lifetime to bathe in the sparkling waters of glacier-fed rivers beyond barricades of lockdown nations of the world. Thank you. Is it good to begin with, or you want me to read another one? Okay, one more. So I'll read. In India and Nepal, this pandemic came as a great opportunity for these rulers to cause a lot of suffering for the poor people. So these laborers, the workers, were stuck in the big cities and couldn't go out back to their homes. So uh, they were left, on their own, and millions of miles. I mean, millions of people have to walk foot, hundreds of miles, and several of them died on the way. And there was an incident that they were sleeping. They were so tired of walking alone, and they were sleeping on the rail tracks. And a train came and they got chopped under the train near Mumbai. So, and I was so upset because nobody cares for these workers and for these migrant workers who are going home, and they didn't provide them any transport. So in the burning heat, they had decided to walk. So this poem, Who Saw It Coming? A Migrant Song. Who saw it coming after a sweaty count of wounds on reckless rail tracks as sleep wrestled their feverish limbs into an early morning sleep? Who saw it coming after a careful count of burnt bread in the dark hollows of their spent-up knapsacks on the full eclipse of a bleak night? Who saw it coming after miles of walking barefoot on the flaming tongue of the forbidden roots laced with splintered stones, sharp enough to drill a hole in your Lord Krishna's nimble feet? Who saw it coming, severing motley threads of their flailing breaths under the blind stare of a merciless sun? Who saw it, their meager stalks, charred chapatis, pouches of moldy rice, sattu of 7 cereals, an ounce of moth-eaten beaten rice, rotting onions, green chilies, a pod or two of garlic, tiny pudiyas of sweat-soaked salt to survive these fearful crusades? Who saw it coming, grinding wheels of cold steel, chomping their body frames, scattering chunks of their mutilated flesh, brittle as branches of a dead tree, their priceless gutteries, hollering million metaphors of self, soul, and salvation? Who saw it coming, their lives splintered into multiple pieces under the threadbare shrouds woven from the spiteful yarns of your designs, darker than the blind night of their lives, darker than the face of a burnt bread that they had carried to come alive out of your snare of public lies? Who saw it coming, tracks littered with food soaked in their own warm blood, unleashed by your churlish chants and mega announcements? Who saw it coming, worn out flip-flaps on the sullen tracks, staring helpless at the stunned stars of their aggrieved souls, authorizing a final descent into the hellholes of their ultimate sleep? Who saw it coming? You saw it coming, and you did nothing about it.
Wow, thank you so much. Those were
Thank,
great readings.
thank you, Yu, and I'm gonna come visit you at the base of the Himalayas when I
Yeah,
retire.
we are waiting.
We
as
have
soon as
plans.
yeah, as soon as it gets better, we are trying to plan a festival in January. If things get better, New York Writers Workshop, and so we are going to do a workshop and along with teaching, and then I'm going to do a Himalayan festival. So I want to invite several of my friends if everything goes well. It all depends on how it happens in the
Well,
coming
thank you
months.
for being here, and I really enjoy seeing you as always.
Yeah, thank you both. Those were just wonderful readings. Jennifer, of course, is an old friend of mine. She's a very early big table poet. About 100 years ago, she and I did her first chapbook, Apostrophe. But I'm really proud of her, and she kind of makes me a little mad because she's that good. And you sounded great. I'm going to definitely check out. And thank you for getting up in the middle of the night to help celebrate Tim, because that means a lot to both of us. So working with Tim Gager, he is the kind of poet that when he has a book, he lets me know he's got a collection. I'm just, give me it. The contract's in the mail already. I don't even have to see it. I know I want it. And working with him is just always, always great. Sometimes if I haven't heard from him in a bit, I contact him and I say, give me something, because I just love working with him. We've done quite a few books together, kind of too many to list off. At the 2 books ago was Every Day There's Something About Elephants. And at the book launch, I did something I've never done before. I insisted on reading one of the stories myself because it was so yummy. And I just didn't want anyone to read it but me. So, so we've known each other quite a while. What I love about his writing, when I read his poetry, it just seems, it's kind of a combination of edgy and breezy. And it's so good, and he makes it look so effortless. And I don't know if it is or if it just comes across that way, but I admire it so much. And he inspires me, and he makes me think, well, yeah, I could probably do that, which I can't. But the fact that he makes me think I can is what matters. Shout out to Matt Sadisky, who did this brilliant cover. Everyone who has seen this cover loves it. So thank you so much. It's really, really terrific. Tim is a great friend. I love him like crazy. And it's an honor always to work with you, Tim. Take it away.
Love you too, Robin. Thank you so much for accepting my work so well. And breezy and edgy and breezy. It's like, sounds like I'm falling over the side of a sailboat. But anyway, all these poems from 2020 were written in 2020 except this one. And this is a poem I wrote with my mom while she was in hospice. Near leaves and light. Even the leaves were threatening, the orange ones especially. When she saw, she shivered, felt as if she could pluck the light from the branches. The noise deafening. Think about this. Think about this. Thoughts more important than words. In those thoughts, God is very near. Then there was singing. Jake's narrative. After the movie, I'm thinking of ending things. I create empty space as snow falls. I broom away the best times to forget to distort the truth. She's in my car, super sexy, someone so not in my car, in a suicide of snow, obsession in the car, existing, alive. I swear she's there, well-read, replayed, watching me feed mother as she lay dying after living forever. My father's stopped to remember this is my life's work. In their house, to myself, to paint, read in, release what I have done. What have I done? To a tree cut down. You can no longer grow. Your roots bore into pipe below a basic foundation under my neighbor's house. They watched each other branch out, streamlined, then saw rope used to pull you down as if you were nothing. I will stand with the tree, protest going down, hope the structure can plumb itself, become an element of change, not just leafed branches severed, raining down your splendor, becoming dank down to your trunk, your appendages exposed, cut up, taken away, forgotten. Seclusion. We touch each other. Desire, lives rapidly circulating, going viral, how we used to connect. We disconnect in houses, cold media. We wish to touch each other. Being alone, this is the worst thing yet to be the worst thing yet. Still, there's contact. How we touch each other under the covers is different today. Pictures of primrose are not real primrose. Even the words die. They can't hide. We will not bury them. Whiskey, India, Delta, Echo. Linked coast you've handled over guarded lines, a ham radio, veteran listening carefully, waves received, emitted, picked up through static, yet no mistaking that it is night, or far away you are reaching. Usually evidence reveals itself. Some man-made interference originally receives a bravo, making the keying defective, but useless. I am ready. I am completely an amateur operator. Heaven undecipherable. Existential crisis. Hitting a snooze button, an archaic term like hanging up, or alack, a lee, a low, a main, anent, anon, freaking a Lord Gramercy, torturing the dog in order to trim his nails, buying and applying eye cream, writing vomit, describing cat shit, to my wife contributing nothing to anything but what it is worth contributing to, the Salvation Army maybe. I'm angry over the dangling preposition like ringing a bell, having one's bell rung, causing alarm with ample confusion, over mass confusion of causation, certus, clept, eft, egads, ee. Kleptoparasitic. Going to heaven, tears held back, snared in hell like a fly in a strip stuck, a glue tape restrictive, morphine-like soaring into the Prozac. Or skipping Prozac, the limbo of an insect's life is a human antonym, perhaps a hymn of yang and yin, stuck within magistry of dewdrops, web affixed, holding a place on earth. Unlike the pterodactyl, we beg to hold the dying. How Lucia Joyce was treated. There are no structured steps. When a choreography is dismissed, the staged mind is darkened. Reject the limitations, movements derived from interpretation of feelings. Rhymes become more fitful, food thrown up, heaved a chair at Nora on father's 50th. Fires were set after Ulysses. Cut phone cords, disconnect congratulations. Young felt she severed from reality, while James had anosognia rubbed in the assessor's nose. Stated they dove in the ocean to gather improbable creatures, except James twirled to the surface, while Lucia spun all the way down, mouth openly giving in surrender to unwilling incarceration. James swam functionally as a genius, cement-shoed dance partner, all his weight tied to Lucia. That poem was about Carl Jung treating the daughter of James Joyce, named Lucia. I only introduce poems after I read them, apparently. Let's see, 47. Reply to someone who said, this is a poem dedicated to my friend Nadine, who passed away a couple months ago. Reply to someone who said, you should write a poem about her. I don't know if I can write this poem. The one about you. The one about, I don't know. Am I deserving of writing something that's not right? I know others can. If others can, I can. Pray, please God, someone write it. Someone, God, worthy or good enough, but not me. No, I can't. It's impossible. You're gone, and it's impossible. When you have this connection, it's like the kitchen is on fire when before you only smelled smoke. You will buy what you buy, food when you buy, if it's what she wants. You will scrub the house clean if she were to drop in. No need to call when you didn't see her on Wednesday, as you've seen her the last 3 of those, like a pattern, a routine you had, like laundry on the same night forever, always on Wednesday, the middle of the week. But the day you sat her down and confided you had anxiety about all these changes, you said instead, the days are getting shorter, it's getting darker. You never liked losing those minutes of daylight. Spring always arrives, she answered, yet I still mourn like Whitman, his lilac blooming perennial and his drooping star in the west. I love that she knows that verse, and I love that she is right. Midwinter aficionado. Raced to daybreak, my dear, crossing bow jesting. Surely our dice came up. How I roll, snake eyes. So cold today, it's all faunas here. A chicken fowl's out. The bile of connubial, the times you pecked, the times you saw trees swaying, the woodpecker's sound. Never fail at the point of staccato. That was supposed to be the woodpecker sound, in case. Instead, it was the closet door sound. A few days in the Berkshires after viewing Masmoka. It was a huge installation. Views strobed total blackness, then the fire pit ukulele, terrelled in light and dark. Views strobed total blackness, mountain air, stars, terrelled light and dark. Getting away, not getting out of stars and mountain air. Alone we wood stoved the inn. Getting away, not getting out. Broke danced on the floor of a hot tub. We alone wood stoved the inn. Hot like the bottom of a pie tin. Broke danced on the floor of a hot tub. Yelled time when time came today. Views of strobed versus total blackness. The fire pit ukulele, terrelled in light and dark like it was a huge installation. That was a pantoon, so I'll read another pantoon. Ballet of Surrender. Dancing to get up high on my toes, now point to each other, hypothetical anonymity. High on my toes, no one is looking. Hypothetical anonymity, I kiss the ground I once fell on. No one is looking, now point to each other. No longer presumed difficult, dancing, I am up. I kiss the ground I once fell on. No longer presumed punished. Pirouetting won't turn to bellicose. Feelings of uselessness, self-pity, I no longer presumed punished. I never felt I could be a ballerina. Feelings of uselessness, self-pity, turn to rejoicing in these basements. I never felt I could be a ballerino. Pirouetting, can't turn to bellicose. Go rejoice in these basements. I kiss the ground I once fell on. What you should do when attacked by bees. Run. People make mistakes. Standing, swatting, giving extra time for the colony to recruit. When confronted by stinging bees, run. Through shrubs or brush, distract them, run until they're left behind. Some chase half a mile. Don't be fooled into water. A poor shelter every time you come up. They cover you, sting faces and noses. No way to breathe. Remember, run. Bees aren't being mean in a human sense. They just take exception. Rosebud winter. Late snowfalls on the Sangre de Cristo are confetti twirls in a tube. The sprinkle erupts, builds blankets of white, a frosting over emerald, never less green, not everlasting than springtime's coming. When her flowers are tricked, buried too soon, they will now wait for water to trickle down from her peak. For the heck of it, I decided to read this one, Wish Me Luck. It's called On Energy Drinks, and the poem is filled with names of actually energy drinks. And so the double meaning is great because I was talking to a friend about what I was going to read today, and I said, I was thinking about reading on energy drinks. And she said, no, don't do that. You might crash in a couple hours. I said, no, the poem on energy drinks. So, on energy drinks. Venom, energy plus mango, Red Bull, gourd, a mistake, 5-hour energy if it takes Rockstar to party like The Who, what, where, a dude can down a shark, adrenaline shock, energy that's not smart, spelled S-H-O-C, lost the K, if you want to push a train, climb a peak, seek science to gain that X, but lose the S, 3D, formerly UP, lost the U and the P. An amp by Mountain Dew by Pepsi is speed 2 without jug-swilling hillbilly that are gun-silly measures of currents, which could SHOCK you. Monster, which is just that, but does it make you feel that? And Is BAWLS a crying fuel or a bawling fuel? Maybe for multitasking, hoping it is the healthy drink Zip Fix you mix with water but stinks of Kool-Aid, or funny face goofy effing grape. Now we're gaining speed, full throttle, restless, sparks, nose, spike, Starbucks, bang, shooter, redline, flatline, supreme, meth, cybersport, kill, cliff, Tropo Cool, Ignite, down the Sambazon Organic Ambazon, crack and burn with Martelly gel. Hell, it's only time for time to fly. Now you've got to fly by time. Now you got to time to fly. In fly time, time flies. Fly there, there. I'm going to end, and I'm very grateful for all you people that showed up, and there's a lot of friends out there and family and people I know in the writing community, and I really appreciate you guys showing up. And this is a poem that I used some of my friend Yuyutsu Sharma's meter in. Ocean Hotel. Outside the window, the ocean laps over rocks, laps over rocks, laps over rocks. The foam is in the mixer, a quick plop resonates, followed by fierce, violent smacks into rock wall, where a seagull sits over the sounds almost staged, unmoved, a witness to this. The sun opens early today, 6 a.m., when my eyes do not catch much, eyelids inching up like the water rising outside a window, the ocean laps over rocks, laps over rocks, laps over rocks. Thank you all very much. So if you want to buy the book, contact me. I don't hide anywhere on social media. Find me there or find my email, and I will send you a signed copy of this, plus half price of any other book in my library in addition to that, if you'd like to go that way. Check out Jennifer Martelly's books, Yuyutsu Sharma's book, and Big Tables Publishing's books by Robin Stratton. And, unmute and chat a bit, guys.
Great job, Tim.
Yeah, it was a great reading. I kind of came in late, but I'm glad that I caught you. It was really good. I enjoyed it. I want a book.
Cool. Thank you.
And Jennifer, I'm sorry I missed you. I would have liked to have seen you, heard you. So I'll have to do it another time.
This is Kate in Florida, and I just want to say thank you so much to you, Tim, for doing this, because you have been so welcoming to me as a host, and to hear you read, it's just breathtaking and so inspiring. Thank you.
Thank you, Kate. Good to see
Beautiful
you.
work. Beautiful work. Got to get the book.
Or stated another way, you rock, Tim.
Thanks, Harry.
And I love Robin's description of your writing. It's like, how do you do that?
Well, you know what? Without people like that, like I think that when I first started writing, I was always encouraged by reading people that I thought I can do that. Like, this is a great book, but I can do that. You know, it wasn't the people that I was blown away as a writer, which I could think I could never write like that. It was people like, yeah, you know what? This is pretty basic, pretty easy, but good. So I can do that.
Jim, your reading, though, added a whole new dimension to everything. Really enjoyed it.
Thank you, Martha. It's my sister and mother of the book designer, Matthew Saditsky.
Yeah, we don't do nepotism here, do we?
Well, you know, our mom was so important to Matt and Matt's art, so I thought it was really good to be working with him on this.
It's only nepotism if they're unqualified.
That's true.
Yeah.
And if we're, even thinking about paying someone else.
Great job, Tim. That was really gorgeous. Just lovely stuff, moving. I'm really like moved by how you took this past year and turned it into art, because this past year, had some ups, but it had a lot of downs. But the way you turned it into beautiful poetry is just fantastic. So thank you for doing that.
Are you still in Connecticut teaching, or you could be anywhere teaching, right?
I live in Northampton, and
Ah,
I'm still teaching it as an Untucked Community College, but everything's online right now, which is interesting. I don't wear pants very often.
we won't tell the
Sweatpants.
university then.
Sweatpants.
Good, I don't want my friend to get arrested in some university.
Tim, that was a great job. Great reading. Fantastic. I can't wait to buy the book. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Jason. I mean, I will do. I mean, I will do curbside for people that are within like 10, 15 miles of me. It gets me out of the house too.
Yeah.
I want to add my thanks to to all three of you for a terrific hour, and somehow or other I contrived things such that I was able to follow along. You announced the title of the poem. I flipped through madly and found it, and that was actually pretty cool. I don't often get to do that. So, yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah.
I've got to get the book. I loved it. I thought it was terrific and incredibly musical. Tim, you're very musical. Really, the flow is beautiful. Really, really liked it. And the wit and humor, the whole combination really, really felt right. I'd love to get your book. Do I just email you or what?
Yeah, that'd be great.
Okay, will do.
Thanks.
I want to say one other thing. I thought Yuyutsu's writing was amazing. Thank you so much. And Jennifer Martelly, that was the first time I heard you read, and that was phenomenal. Phenomenal reading. So.
Thank you.
All right, everybody. Well, thank you so much for coming. I should just leave the room open so everyone can be awkward simultaneously, but I think I'm gonna close the room. I love you all, and thanks for coming. Hope to see you soon, and see you on the great outdoors at some point.
Forward to it. Thank you, Tim.
Hi, Tim.
Bye, Tim.